Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Simple Politics. My name is Zizipho Lupelwana. So today, I want us to talk about the student accommodation crisis. I see it's everywhere. Student accommodation crisis. And it seems like everybody is taking it serious now. And I mean, this is a problem that we've had in South Africa for a long time. When we were students, it's a pity that when I was a student, you could, like for example, for me to get an accommodation, I had to change my address. I had to put an address from the Eastern Cape. I had to tweak a few things. That's how I got accommodation. Luckily for us, I think it was still easier to even, like when you tweak an accommodation, at least they can prioritize you. I think these days, even if you can tweak the address and do what, still, we would still not get an accommodation. And the problem with South Africa, they have to wait for something bad to happen in order for them to take action. That is the biggest problem with South Africa. Because now there's a big crisis because students are in danger. Apparently there was a girl or a lady who went for who went to a university, who got an acceptance letter. When they got that, they didn't have an accommodation. I don't know if she maybe requested or what happened, but she ended up being assaulted. Yeah, understand? So in South Africa, they have to wait until there's a lot of cries, because everywhere we've got the same problem. They have to wait till there's a lot of cries, incidences, rape cases, for them to say, oh no, this is a crisis. And I'm so happy the way that the student, the EFF student personnel, I'm going to play it for you guys. I forgot his name, I'm so sorry. He spoke so well, and he says that he says, I fail to understand why it's only a crisis when we are on TV. And he says that we've been having this problem, and we even tabled a motion in 20, I think he says 2017. So he's saying this is not new. We have been at the forefront of trying to make sure that the students are helped. Now it's a crisis today. He's saying this is not a crisis that has started today. And he says, I'm shocked that now everybody is like, oh, it's a crisis. He says, we've been saying it's a crisis. The EFF has been saying that. Then I'm like, I like this guy. Yo. So I want to play that for you guys. I want to play his bit of interview. I think I'm going to split up into two. And also, Shem, yes, I saw Uzungula. You know, one thing, Geshem, funny enough, I like, sorry, let me just off-ramble a little bit. I like Zungula, but I've never seen anybody wearing an ATM shirt. I've never seen anybody, I've never met anyone anywhere who says I'm a member of ATM. Anyway, so I see that Zungula went to D6 as well, DR6, what is it called? Sorry guys, it was scared. I was studying there, but I don't know. Oh, D6, yeah, he went to District 6, yeah, to I think to speak to the students. I want us to look at that as well, and it's good that he's putting himself in out there, but I think also Zungula is a little bit smart when it comes to speaking about current affairs, trying to be visible. I just think his biggest problem is that people that are with him in his party, they're not active. Personally, I only know Zungula. I was shocked now if there are students that are in the ATM. Very shocked. Very, very shocked when I saw students in the ATM. I've never seen anyone. I've never met anyone who says they're a member of the ATM. Anyway, back to the student accommodation crisis. Let me quickly attach the small clip from the EFF. Let me just quickly get this guy's name, because I think I don't like the fact that I'm calling him the EFF personnel now. I forgot his name. Let me do this, because if I do this, I'm gonna get his name very fast, because I shared a post that was posted by Ulonzi saying that he's gonna be on CBC, or there his name is Dilapidated Masebe. Guys, I'm closer. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Dilapidated Masebe. That's his name. This guy is good. He's so well spoken. So let's attach and hear what he says first. Let's start there.
500,000 is the amount of the bed deficit across the country when it comes to student accommodation. 500,000. Then we go to 25,000. which is the current amount of beds that NSFAS has accredited for student accommodation. Now, roughly speaking, if you take Wits University, you take the University of Johannesburg, you take Nelson Mandela University, you are speaking about 119,900 students in 3 universities in one of the most prominent metros. You start to realize that the housing deficit is far above what the current department policies and the NSFAS policy and targets can match.
So what are the urgent interventions then which are needed to address this plight? Because it's quite clear here there is a big shortfall when it comes to accommodation.
I don't know why agency must only be urgent when we're on TV. Because in 2017, the EFF Student Command wrote a program entitled it Accommodation is Land, which was entirely focused on addressing the issues of student accommodations in institutions of higher learning across both universities and the TVET sector. Why is this matter urgent now? Because it was urgent in 2016 when members of the EFF in the Johannesburg Metropolitan Council tabled a motion expropriating abandoned buildings in order to convert them into student accommodations. It's urgent to you guys. It has been urgent to us since 2016. This is nearly 10 years ago. The crisis that is now currently facing students has been facing them for almost 10 years. And the conversation was never really as, immediate as when the EFF made it 10 or 9 years ago. So Paseka can speak how he wants to speak because maybe he just, entered the leadership space. The EFF has been on the center of student accommodation crisis across this country for more than 10 years, actually.
And he's telling the truth. Yeah, but like he explains it so well. I know that there's a student crisis as well, a student accommodation crisis as well. But I think the way that he explains it so well that I'm like, oh my God, like things are bad. I didn't realize that they were this bad. Yeah, but then he, on the second clip that I'm about to attach, he also touches on the on the private accommodation. If you are from Cape Town, especially in town, you will know there are private accommodations in Cape Town, and those private accommodation, they will charge you 6,000 and you're a student. Tell me, where are you gonna get 6,000 to rent as a student? Yeah, so he's raising such an important point. You're saying, they've tried to raise a motion that NSFAS must do a deal with these private accommodations. Okay, fine. If you're going to accommodate NSFAS students, at least charge, this is just an example, charge 3,000. Yeah, man. Where I stayed as well when I was a student, we got a private accommodation. We got a private accommodation from a hotel. That's how we were accommodated, Tina. We got a private accommodation from a hotel. If you know Cape Suits Hotel, okay, it was such a luxurious stay, guys. I had a very good stay during my rest times, Shem. I'm not going to lie. It was luxurious, and they had cleaners in that hotel that cleaned for us. Shem, it was nice. I'm not going to lie. But it was so expensive. As a result, when we graduated and we looked at our at the debt that we have, the NSFAS debt that we had, it was crazy because the Cape Suit Hotel was very expensive compared to a normal hotel. It was very, 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 very expensive. So I like the fact you're saying, no, we're not saying the private people must not tap into the business, but they must not exploit and expect to charge students such a big amount of money. That NSFAS does not even cover for that matter, because that's another problem. NSFAS does not even go that far. This is why NSFAS ends up having such a problem of not paying, and there's this and there's that, because they can't even afford it. So let's insert the second clip And let's hear what this guy says.
To your standards, because I mean, when you speak to the Department of Education or higher education in that regard, I mean, they will say that much has been done by certain businesses to even turn some buildings in the CBD into student accommodation. Paseka, they're also touching on the issues around looking at a number of dilapidated buildings in the Johannesburg CBD in particular that can still be turned into more student accommodation, because it's quite clear we need way more than what we have.
So which political party has addressed that? Which political party has focused resources, has focused manpower research into dealing with that? It has been the EFF. As we speak right now, there is a monopoly growing within the sector of youth, of student accommodation. You've got South Point, which nationally has about 10,000 beds. You've got Growth Point that has recently partnered with Finstra, a very big accommodation provider. You've got Rise. You've got Res Public. These are the big four of student accommodation. These companies are now partnering with one another in order to make sure that they are going to monopolize the student accommodation sector and raise prices. NSFAS does not give you a fraction of what these student accommodation private providers charge students. The EFF has said across metropolitans, let municipality councils take over rates, give special incentives to student accommodation providers in order to make sure that we try and mitigate the gap between what NSFAS gives students and what those private accommodation providers actually charge.
Yeah, and when it comes to these private accommodation, which is available, across the country to a number of universities, when it comes to these issues that you are raising, saying that, the prices are exorbitant, they are quite high, it's unaffordable, and the likes of NSFAS can't even really cover some of, the monies that they are charging. What are you doing to raise some of these issues with the Higher Education Department, as well as, bringing on board NSFAS?
What we are doing is what we've been consistently doing. We are calling for municipalities to go into a special arrangement when it comes to these private accommodation providers, to say, incentivize this. Because there is no way that someone who's an NSFAS beneficiary can now be understood automatically as someone who's outside of the bracket that the government has said these are indigent individuals coming from indigent households. At UNISA, the accommodation stipend, in fact the living stipend, the living allowance that NSFAS gives to an average UNISA student is 310 rand. Because the understanding is that UNISA is a long distance institution. Yeah. And then because of that, students who study at UNISA don't have accommodation allowances. At VETS, the most expensive res is in your 120,000s. NSFAS is only willing to give us 67,000 per year. The EFF has been consistently calling for municipalities to go into a special arrangement with private accommodation providers.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, now remember I said that Uzungula was in DC. Let me just read what he wrote. He said that we went to CPUT D6 where plus minus 250 students have been sleeping in the student center for the past few weeks. The living conditions are really deplorable and students aren't even provided food. We would like to encourage those who can help the students with some meals like we did yesterday. The issue of student accommodation shortage can be resolved by expropriating all abandoned and hijacked buildings and converting them into a world-class accommodation. Exactly what the EFF guy has said they've been advocating for. There are so many abandoned buildings in Cape Town. They're close to CPUT. There are so many, and those abandoned buildings, Ushala is street people like Pai. There are so many abandoned buildings. But as I said, in South Africa, for something to be taken serious, it has to be a crisis. People have to die. And then, they can't just think, hey, this is a crisis, let's sort it out before it gets out of hand. They have to wait till the worst of the worst happens. So yeah, let me insert this clip from Uzungula Shem. Yes, he's trying, Shem. He's trying. I like to see that. I like to see him getting involved in current affairs.
baleka kaloku mphokoqo masabekwelatyheni zafika sigalalekile inkosi nenkosa nam zafika sigalalekile sithi buza buza.
And also on my closing, I think I got images from UJ as well, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just from Sekina. I'm going to attach that as well. But in the comment section, I want you guys to let me know what you think. Like, when will this be taken serious? Because it's actually a crisis. Let me know what you think, guys. Because, you know, Nyani, sometimes if we can put aside our political parties, if when EFF raised this thing in 2016, 2017, and government took action right then and then, without thinking, oh, if we implement it, then we're going to be making EFF happy, and they're going to say, oh, it's our policy, because that's what happens. They always think, oh, if we do this, then they're going to start gloating and say it's their plans and ideas. Well, then it is, but, you know, let's just put that aside and first think about the students and think about solving the crisis.
Well, as the 2025 academic year kicks off, the challenge of finding a safe, affordable place to live has become a stark reality for many South African students. On campuses across the country, protests have erupted over the chronic shortage of student accommodation. There have been reports of sexual exploitation by landlords, alongside non-payment by the National Student Financial Aid Scheme to service providers.
So yeah, guys, if you don't know who I am, let's meet in the comment section. If you don't know who I am, my name is Dilapidated. This is Simple Politics. This is where we share everything politics. And please, Betunana, give me flowers, because I actually put a wig. If you could see what I look like under this wig, you'd faint. I had to put an effort for you guys and actually wear a wig. So please take me serious, because I also take you very, very, very serious, because I was like, I need to be representable. Subscribe to this channel, okay? It is free of charge. If you keep coming on this channel and you don't subscribe, shame on you. Shame on you for always watching the videos here and you don't subscribe. Shame on you, okay? Shame on you. Subscribe. It is free of charge. It's not gonna cost you anything. Click the subscribe button. All right, I'll see you guys on the next episode. Aluta continua. Let me know what you think, guys, about this crisis, and if they're actually going to be taking action, or if they're going to say it's a crisis, and then they go quiet again like they always do. Because Galok, it becomes a crisis every beginning of the year, and then it dies down and everybody forgets about it, and then next year again it's the same thing over and over and over again. Do you think they're going to actually take a step and take things serious, or do you think, oh, it's the same old story? Let's meet in the comment section. Aluta continua.